Good morning and welcome to a Thursday edition of the Morning Huddle live from First Financial Bank. As looking at the weather forecast, I think both of us looked at the same thing. Kickoff tonight, 60 degrees, and we're playing tomorrow night kickoff at 7 o'clock, 28 degrees with freezing drizzle, freezing rain.
Yeah, I'll say it again. It really, we started talking to our kids about it on Monday, and I grew up 21 miles north of Littlefield and played in lots of those cold, drizzly games, and it didn't bother me. It really doesn't. We've explained to our kids, and we've talked about how to handle it, what to deal with, and where how to dress, and where you get cold and where you wouldn't. Just more of an issue of you can get it in and help fans along the way, and you help the band and the cheerleaders, and if there's the option there, why not use it? And in the long run, Littlefield played on Thursday last week, and we'd played on Thursday if we could, and so it's not a big issue at this time of year. You're just more than anything sitting around waiting to play by Friday anyway, so might as well go ahead and get it going.
I know it made for a lot of people a long week a little bit shorter because everybody's once Friday night's over, everybody's anticipating the next game, and this moved it up a little bit.
I know our kids were ecstatic when we told them, and they were ready. They were ready to go at that current moment, if you want to know the truth. So it was a good deal.
Good deal. Did the news spread quickly after the decision?
Yeah, I mean that's amazing. That's scary. I actually think it's scary. I left Mr. Hughes' office, and he called the elementary, and I walked to the junior high to tell the junior high. And by the time I could walk from the junior high to the high school, which we're talking probably a 2-minute gap in there, I had 5 texts already about it. And that's something else that can happen that fast.
I was at a chamber meeting and my phone started going off. I was like, why are people? People were calling me that knew where I was. I was like, why are they calling me?
Yeah.
It couldn't be good news, but it was good news. Hey, let's talk a little bit about last Friday night. We traveled down to Brownwood, Gordonwood Stadium, took on Brady. Got off to a semi-slow start. The defense made a stop after a fairly long drive by Brady. Then we had the punt block that was returned for the only Brady score. Talk to us a little bit about the Brady Bulldogs and the Houston Mavericks last Friday night.
It ended up, I don't know, man. I think we've gotten spoiled at times, and you're just used to, or wanting, and of course everybody wants to, but you're used to just jumping on people and being ahead 4 touchdowns before you know what happened. Would we like to start out on top? Absolutely, but it hasn't happened in the last couple of weeks, and we're playing good people. And you look at it at the end of the game, you win 37-6 in the first round of the playoffs. You have a defensive shutout. They only have 8 first downs. You pull your majority of your offensive starters with 10 minutes to go to get some other kids some playing time, and it could have punched 1 or 2 more in if we really felt like we had to. And it's a wonderful game. It's great to get. Playoff wins are hard to come by, but playoff wins are even harder, and so we felt great about it.
I have to tell you, after I left here last Friday, you about had me depressed. I was scared to death to see what Brady was going to throw at us.
Well, they were talented. Those 2 running backs. One was a little banged up, so he didn't quite run as hard as the other one. And then they lost another kid early in the game. I think that kid broke his leg, so it kind of hampered them a little bit. But it gave us some fits there for a while. But the touchdown called back, and then them limiting our possessions in the first half. It very well could have been a 21 or 28-0 game at halftime.
Yeah, we went into halftime up 14-6. You mentioned the defense. Probably the best 48 minutes of defense I've seen the Mavericks put together this year. Limited Brady to only 189 yards, and the bulk of those came on 2 drives.
Yeah, 45 of them came on 1 play. There's another situation. We got all 3 of our timeouts about 3 minutes ago on a 3rd and long, and not a smart play on our part, and give up a 45-yard pass to a running team that not only gets them down close to scoring, but also takes that last 3 minutes where we were fixing to have the ball with timeouts, a chance to go push another one in. So defense played well all night long, but we're starting to run to the ball better, and that's one thing it's going to be a big focus, and or it's going to be a big key for us again tonight, is being able to get everybody the ball.
Defensively, a big night. Jeremy Finley had 11 assists. Grant Bailey, a big night, 2 unassisted, 14 assists. And then some sacks in there. Samuel Joyner with a big sack, 2 tackles for loss. Josh got his nail, 3 tackles for loss. It was spread around pretty well defensively.
Yeah, and just like I said, getting lots of people the ball, and, obviously going to be a big key tonight as well. Jeremy's a kid that just as as the year's gone on, just continues to get a little bit better. Not super blessed athletically, but Jeremy knows everything we're trying to do, and he knows about half of what they're trying to do. And it's one of those things that's very valuable to have on the field all the time for us, because he gets us in the right spots, and he's also calling out their tendencies most tonight. Bailey got to add playing time as the year's gone on as we've had those injuries, and that's one of those things that's added depth. Now we got Zach back. You got 4 of those guys that we can rotate our linebacker position with Grandel, whereas Brant coming in the year playing off the freshman team last year and then the JV team for part of the year, and has just got better all year getting that varsity experience.
Offensively, 351 yards of total offense. Probably one of the more surprising numbers is the fact that 247 of those came on the ground. We had 2 guys with 100 or more yards rushing.
Yeah, probably not surprising that we rushed for 247. Just surprising that we were 2-to-1 pass with as little passes we had. But they were committed to dropping 8, and we dropped some balls, and we didn't throw some balls where we needed to, or were accurate with them, I guess I should say. Just weren't clicking early on. But having Josh be over 100, Sammy be over 100 is a big thing to us. It provides balance, and then as the game went on, we're still continuing to get Zach Carlton work back in there. I don't think he had a whole lot, but 6 or 8 carries for 40, 50 yards, and that really pays off as well to be able to spread the offense around.
And of the 104 yards of passing, 72 of those came on one play when Josh hooked up with J.D. Coffey.
Yeah, it was a big play. Kind of really, we seem to do that when we find something and have a big play, or just kind of relaxes us. If you'll ever notice, we had one of those. We sort of relax and then do a little bit better. The series before, we've done something that we've kind of done throughout the year, and when we motioned out the corner, jumped it, so we knew we were going to be open on the play, and just came back first play of the next series and hit a big one and just really relaxed us and got us going.
Pretty good night with special teams. Had some good punts in there by Zach Carlton. Nice to have him back punting.
Yeah, punting is good. Obviously we gave up that one brought for a touchdown. A little bit of him being too slow and a little bit of not protecting as we should. Kickoff was good. Tyler continued to kick very good. Got one. Tyler kind of banged up his leg there late and wanted to come out on the kicking duty, so it's good to have Juan Ojeda there ready to kick. Did a good job fielding the pooches, man. That's something that people have just, I don't know, I guess they don't want to kick deep to us, and that pooch is in vogue right now, and so we did a good job fielding those, in which we struggled with those as of late, so that was a big thing to happen.
Mentioning Tyler Adams in the kicking game, we've been very fortunate the last several years. We've had a long line of good kickers, and it looks like the future's bright with Juan Ojeda coming up next year.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's overlooked. You've got to have one. You don't have to, but it sure makes it easy if you can make their offense have to drive 70, 80 yards to go score, and then at the same time when get those extra points, or if you get down there and end up getting a penalty or a bad play and get pushed back to a 4th and long and you're in field goal range, it's nice to be able to walk away with some points as opposed to walking away with none.
And that's very big in all levels of sports, but for a 2A team, going back, I'm trying to think. I think as long as you've been here, we've had a decent kicking team.
Oh yeah, shoot, you can go back to when I was in Cisco and Colt Williamson was kicking those he kicked one night against us, I think 51 or 52 against us, so the Eastland's had a good kicker for a long time now.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about, we mentioned this throughout the year. You always say you just want to continue to see improvement, and I think you're still seeing improvement. This team has not reached its peak on either side of the ball.
Yeah, I really don't think so. We kind of had that early season, got up, played well, and did some good things, but then, it's sort of like, all right, we're ready for the playoffs, or maybe we're ready for district, and then we win those few district games, and then we're, okay, we got to play good here against Comanche and Clyde, but, somewhere in there with all those injuries and just people being in and out, it just kind of took that clicking away a little bit, so it kind of set us back, so to speak. But I really feel good The Clyde game, we played good defense for 7 quarters in a row, real good defense for 7 quarters. And although we're just not exploding offensively like we'd like, but we know where we are, and so we're still scoring 48, 49 points a game, and and I think I'd take that. And we're just still continuing to prove, and got some more weeks to do it, hopefully.
All right, Coach, we're going to go ahead and take our first break. It'll be a 2-minute break. You're listening to the Morning Huddle on KATX Sports. We're live at First Financial Bank, and invite everyone, if you're not going to make the trip, to be sure and tune into KATX Radio or KATXradio.com. It's an expanded pregame show beginning at 6 o'clock. Around 6:15, we'll have an interview with former Easton Maverick and current Baylor offensive coordinator Philip Montgomery will join us during the First Financial Bank pregame show. Coach, let's talk about some games of interest from around the area last week, beginning with the Littlefield-Brownfield game. We talked about that a little bit. Well, let's skip that one. We're going to talk a lot about Littlefield here in just a minute. Denver City at Muleshoe. Denver City gets the win 41-21.
Yeah, just two teams that I haven't seen all year, and I really don't know. We had a couple of coaches. We had some coaches go up and scout Littlefield, and actually one game was at Lowry and one game was at Friendship, so they kind of split off and went and at least watched it a little bit. So Muleshoe just, they're very young, only had 4 seniors. Denver City has 26 seniors. Got a couple of 300-pounders, and that just kind of, over the course of the game, just put their weight around and, eventually wore them down.
Clyde at Comfort. The Bulldogs had to come from behind late to win that ball game.
Very, way it sounds, very fun, very interesting game. A game that Clyde kind of dominated the first half, and then second half Comfort dominated. Then Clyde found a way there at the end. Clyde ran into some serious
issues.
Some what?
Penalty issues on the drive that gave Comfort the lead.
Did they?
Yeah.
They ran into some injury issues. They lost their quarterback. They already lost a receiver against us, and then they lost their nose guard. They ended up losing another kid, so they did that winning drive to back up quarterback in.
Will they have their quarterback back this week? Have you heard anything?
Yeah, he's out.
He's done.
He's done.
Bangs versus Comanche. Bangs jumped out early in this ball game. Comanche tried to build the comeback. They fall 31-26.
Yeah, it ended up being that kind of game that you expected, a close game. But it was 31-6 for a while. Bangs up, obviously. I think from, I've talked to both coaches and several people that are around or went to it, or one of those situations where you got a Bangs team with JT Newton who's played several playoff games and been there for, and a Comanche team who's never been in the playoffs, and just really felt Comanche came out nervous and tight and didn't play well from the start. Then, it's hard for them to come back.
Saturday afternoon game pitted Wall at Breckenridge. Wall comes out on top 42-18.
Yeah, it's a good game. I got to go over there and watch that. I thought Breck played really well. Did some good things. Were physical with Wall and made some things work. And made Wall work for a while. It's 14-0 game and a half with a chance to maybe get one in. But eventually Wall just figured out they had to make some adjustments at halftime. Breckenridge had switched what they were doing defensively, and I'm sure Wall went in and once they made the adjustment, kind of opened it up.
Cisco advances in the playoffs. They win at 54-10.
Yeah, I don't really know much about it. I know, I think Stanton, I believe, is who they played.
Yeah.
I think they moved the ball a little bit against them, but pretty one-sided game.
Other games coming up this weekend of interest to us and Maverick fans. Bushland Falcons take on Clyde. That at Jones AT&T Stadium tomorrow night, 7 o'clock.
There's a whole lot of different levels go on that thing. We're just not that you can change it, or well, I guess you can, because we changed ours. But the weather, how you handle the weather, the cold and the wind and the wet. Bushland has a really good quarterback, 6'6" quarterback, college-type kid that has been playing for several years. He's one of the better quarterbacks around, and you throw in Clyde's injury, they're going to be without 3 or 4 of their best players. So, I think Clyde's got their work cut out for them. Healthy, I think it'll be a great game. The way it is right now, they're going to really have to work and make it a kind of a slugfest and not let that thing open up. But Clyde's got a good defense.
Wall takes on Idalou at Grande Stadium tomorrow night, 7 o'clock.
Man, I don't know a thing about Idalou. Obviously, year in, year out, they're very, very good, very competitive. I do know they shut out supposedly a talented Childers team, and to do that in the playoffs, that's a big, tall task to do. So Wall's talented, Wall's fast. They're not real big this year, but they're super fast. You know, being down there in person with them, the fastest team I've sat on the field with this year, and so that's always going to give people fits.
And the game that the winner of our game will take on is Denver City playing Bangs at the Mustang Bowl. That one also takes place tomorrow night at 7:30.
You know, it's one of those things that we're gonna say about us here in a minute. You want to talk about Littlefield? You know, your first glimpse, you look, you see 11-0 team against a team that's lost 2 or 3 or 4 times. I don't know how many times Bangs lost, but you go look at who Bangs lost to, and you look at the injuries that were unknown to other people at that time versus a 11-0 team. You know, it could be I'm gonna tell you, a team like Bangs that's got a quarterback as good as JT Newton, they're really never going to be out of a game. And at this time of the year, I wouldn't expect any kind of blowout. I'd expect a close game that could go either way.
So a lot of playoff action. It's going to be a very lonely scoreboard show for me tonight, as there's not much going on. Strawn, I believe, moved their game to tonight, and that's one that I'll have on there.
I'll bet you there's several statewide. Have you looked?
Well, yeah, I'll have to look statewide because normally I don't have to.
Yeah, I'll bet you there's several.
Yeah, I'm sure there's quite a few around the state, but not a whole lot in our region anyway. So, Coach, we'll take our final break. We'll come back. We'll talk about the Littlefield Wildcats in 2 minutes here on KATX Sports. On KATX 97.7. Coach Hewlett with us, and Coach, meeting up with someone we played 2 years ago at Colorado City, the Littlefield Wildcats. This time we're at Snyder, the same site we were last year when we played on played Muleshoe in the area. One thing that's really weird is that last year we played the area game the day after Thanksgiving because it was really early in the month, and this year it's really late in the month. So here we are going back to Snyder.
I didn't realize that. I just hope we get to play on Thanksgiving again. I don't care where we play or who we play.
Great day to see you, like one of your coaches come in here all of a sudden. I don't know where he came from.
Yeah.
Like a couple of them. Anyway, we take on the Littlefield Wildcats. I don't know, can we expect them to sort of resemble what we saw from Comanche offensively?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, they're going to run the ball, and they got the best running back around, and then Coach Huseman's been there. I don't know how long. I know he coached against me when I was in school, so he's been there a few years. They hadn't changed what they're doing. It goes back to coach before him, and then the coach that coached before him is the superintendent now. So I know it goes back into the 70s, maybe even the 60s with the same thing, same terminology, same everything. It's all that's changed is the names in the jerseys. And I asked him about it, and I said, I know you're going to lie to me and tell me he's not, but this is the best player y'all have had. And he said, no, I'm not going to lie to you. It's the best running back we've ever had. And that's coming from a team that's been in the quarterfinals, been in the semifinals, and been in the finals in the last 6-7 years. So very talented and going to run the ball at you.
And this running back didn't even start the season as a tailback, right?
Yeah, they're 1-4, and he's always played defensive back. He's had some cramping issues throughout his career, and so they played him DB and a little bit of receiver. They start off 1-4 and lose to some quality teams. I was telling you before we came on air, they lost to Dalhart, who's 8-3 playoff team, lost 11-0 3A Shallow-Water, lost 10-0 Stratford, lost to 9-2 district champion Bushland. Move him to tailback, and somewhere around in 7 games he's got, 14, 16, 1,800 yards and 28 touchdowns. And then they got another kid plays the slot that's not quite as talented but just as fast. He actually went 60 yards against us in the second play of the game 2 years ago as a freshman. So very talented, very explosive, can play. It'll be one of those games we can play perfect defense every play except for 5 and give up 35 points. Just nothing you can do about it sometimes. So we got to really get 11 people the ball every single play and do our best to contain them and hit them and cause turnovers.
What about defensively? What are we going to see from the Wildcats?
The same look that they've been in for years. I think it's just an odd front. They're going to play 2 shell or sometimes 4 in the secondary. They'll invert their secondary to a cover 3 every once in a while, but minimal adjustment. They're not going to, nothing fancy. They'll bring a linebacker or 2 and slant their front, and they're going to play base and just do their best they can at what they do. And if you look out there and you see an even front or a goal line, it'd be the first time they've changed in years. So we won't be scrambling, but we'll just be adjusting to change to match what they're doing.
offensive line, defensive line, are they big up front?
You know, not, I mean, I don't know, they got a couple in the 260 range, and, well, I guess their nose guard's 300, so, and they got a 206-pound defensive lineman, so, yeah, they got some size. You know, it's just not one of those that you look at as just huge and bruisers, but, you know, they do have some size up front. We feel like that, you know, it's going to be, particularly when you take a game that rain's likely and wind's likely and cooling off, you know, it's going to be won or lost up front.
And one thing you won't have to worry about, at least, is it won't be like Goldthwait where you had to worry about the mud. You have a
Yeah, you know, that's, we've talked about that, you know, and in those games, those situations and circumstances you get into early in the year pay off, and, you know, we always talk about that with our kids, losing a kid to injury that's going to come back, or playing this game without this one, or playing that game in cold weather, or in wind, or in mud, or in this, you know, it's always practicing you for later in the year, and, you know, we feel good about our two highest pass completion percentage games were at Goldthwait in the mud and at Merkel in the high winds. So, you know, those are situations that have helped prepare us for a night like tonight.
Health-wise, how are we?
We're good, man. You know, we usual week, what are we, week 12, I guess, bumps and bruises, but other than that, we're pretty good.
And let's see, what is somebody else that texted me something? We won't ask that question. We'll save that one for later.
That's not a good one.
Yeah, that's not a good one. Offensively for the Eastland Mavericks, anything that we need to look for special from the Mavericks tonight?
Just execution. You know, we're gonna do what we do. We're not gonna change. You know, we're running the same 4 run plays we've ran for the past 6 years. Not gonna add any. Not gonna take any out. Same thing in the pass offense. We just got to execute. We need to do a good job blocking their linebackers. Their linebackers aren't real big. Handle their big defensive linemen. Get on their linebackers, and when we throw the ball, we need to execute. We got to play throwing. You know, got to play catch and throw it in windows and catch it when it gets there.
And defensively, just look to continue to improve on what we built.
Run to the ball. Got to run the ball and get hats to the ball. Got to cause turnovers. That is the one common denominator in all their losses is they've turned the ball over quite a bit. So causing turnovers will be a big thing, and just corral them on defense. And you know, and obviously it's not like they can't throw the ball. It's just they just choose not to most of the time. You know, so when they do choose to throw it, you really don't want to give up one, a cheap one, to a team that doesn't want to throw it.
And what time is the team leaving today?
I think we're leaving about 2:30, I believe. 2:30. I forgot that detail. It's written on the wall. I'll read it when I get to the field house.
So you'll know where to be at that time.
Well, that's why I write everything down. I'm too forgetful.
And I know they wanted us to encourage people to line the streets going out instead of just all gathering at the football stadium, come here to the bank, be down by the church, wherever, as the send-off will take place around 2:30, and send the Mavericks off to Snyder and hopefully back with an area championship.
Yeah, it's you know, it's a big game. Been nervous all night, all day. I know our kids are ready. It's just that time of year. You know, you can go play really good and lose. You know, it's just the finality of it. You're down to 32 of you in the state in your division, and you know, I mean, it's what it is, and you need to understand it and accept it. And you don't want it to come, but you just plan on playing your best, and you know, hope everything turns out the way it should.
All right, good luck, Coach. Look forward to talking to you again next Friday here at the First Financial Bank Morning Huddle.
I hope so. I plan on it.
All right. Thanks to our guest, Brian Hewlett, for joining us. Thanks to my engineer back in the studio, Matthew Household. Thank you for your time this time. Till next time, I'm Terry Slavens. Have a fabulous weekend, everyone.